Hey YouTube, Bob here. In this next edition of Nintendo Unboxed, I'm going to be taking a look at the Robot peripheral and its two games for the Japanese Famicom and for the US Nintendo Entertainment System. And yes, that's right, its entire library of two whole games. Only two games were produced for this peripheral, and if I were to guess, it's probably for two reasons. The first, I think, is that like many of Nintendo's products, it is very gimmicky. And remember, Nintendo was a toy company long before getting into video games. The robot does what it's supposed to do, but at an excruciatingly slow pace, and it really does disrupt the gameplay. The second reason is that Nintendo developed the robot with a very specific mission in mind. The Family Computer Robot was released in Japan in July of 1985, and the Robotic Operating Buddy, or R.O.B, was dispatched to the United States just 2 months later in October of 1985. R.O.B's mission was to make the Nintendo Entertainment System look like more than just another video game system. At that point, remember, the video game crash had occurred in the United States, and retailers were very reluctant to stock any video game-related products. And I can remember watching TV commercials for it as a 6-year-old and thinking how neat the robot looked and how expensive it probably was. And at $200 it was rather expensive, but as part of the deluxe set that also included the NES console, 2 controllers, the Zapper light gun, Duck Hunt game, and Gyromite game with all of its pieces, it really wasn't all that unreasonable of a price. I got my Nintendo Entertainment System 1 year later in 1987, but I didn't get the deluxe set. By then, Nintendo had accomplished its goal of shoehorning the NES into the US market. Whether that was due more to R.O.B. or the Super Mario Bros. Game that would succeed him as the pack-in game, I'm not sure. But regardless, R.O.B is certainly an important part of Nintendo gaming history. So let's take a look at it. Before we take a look at R.O.B specifically, we're going to take a look at his older brother, which is the Family Computer Robot. So we'll move R.O.B out of the way temporarily and put the spotlight on the Family Computer Robot. This packaging here mimics the Famicom packaging, silver background with red and black text. One thing I find interesting about this picture is R.O.B is pictured here with the hands for the Stack Up game. And the Stack Up game was not included in this configuration here. So I'm not sure if this Japanese text here, maybe it speaks to that or says something to the effect of the hands are not included in this set. If anybody can read that Japanese text in the upper left-hand corner, let me know. I'd be curious to know what it says. But R.O.B, as it was packaged on its own, did not come with those hands. And as far as I know, R.O.B was not released in Japan in any other configuration other than this standalone set here. He was released in the deluxe set along with the NES in the United States, as I mentioned, but I don't think he was in Japan. So we take a look at the packaging. Nothing too eye-catching on the side panel, or even the back panel, which is just a repeat of the front panel. And same thing on the other side. Let's take a look at the top, which is how you open the box. Flip open, and we're greeted with some documentation. First of which is the instruction manual. Unfortunately, no manga this time, like was included with the Famicom manual. Instructions for how to hook R.O.B up, or really just put batteries in him because he doesn't use any cords. It's all sensory technology because there are light sensors in his eyes here, and those respond to light flashes from the TV that the game sends. So as such, you may need to adjust R.O.B's head to see the TV. Positions where he'll be able to read the light flashes. Not supposed to do that or that, whatever those images depict. How to insert the 4 AA batteries that are required for operation. For the robot, some of the other peripherals with Gyromite specifically require even more batteries. And then on the back of the manual, in traditional fashion, since this is Japanese hardware, there is a little sticker with the serial number that matches the serial number on the bottom of the actual robot peripheral in this box. Let's take a look at the other documentation. These are little appliques that you put over his eyes in some cases, I think, either if the lighting in your room is too bright and it drowns out the flashes from the TV screen and causes it so the robot doesn't function properly. So these are included to put over his eyes, and I think this is some sort of warning. Lets you know that if Rob is communicating correctly with the TV, the little LED on the top of his head will glow. Other than that, not too sure what this is all about. But without further ado, let's unbox the family computer robot. And this can be a little tricky. Surrounded by a very thin styrofoam, I guess you would call it just a cage, so to speak. He's totally encased in styrofoam, and it does rip and tear and break easily, so you need to be careful. The best way to do it is just to grab Rob by his head and gently pull out. Get in there. A lot of friction. Come on. There we go. There he is. So we'll move the styrofoam aside and take a look at the robot himself. Comes in a bag. And there he is. Handsome fellow, isn't he? He's got the sensor eyes, the LED on the top that lets you know that he's communicating correctly with the TV, the hands that open and close, and then the shoulders, so to speak, that move up and down and actually rotate from side to side. The base has numbered slots to insert the accessories for Gyromite and for Stack Up. And on the back here, an on-off switch and a cord that sends the signal. On the bottom, we have the serial number that matches the serial number on the manual. 4 rubberized feet to keep them in place. And then, of course, the battery compartment, which can be hard to get open. There we go. Battery compartment for 4 AA batteries. So that is the family computer robot. Let's take a look at his younger brother now, which is R.O.B, the robotic operating buddy. And there he is. There's the robotic operating buddy, or R.O.B, or Rob, however you prefer to call him. Virtually identical to the family computer robot. The only differences you're going to see are in the packaging and in the color scheme of the plastic on the robot itself. As you see, there's a lot more text and advertising on this box because, well, this was really a marketing tool over all else. It was designed to make the NES look cool and less of a video game system. So it says, "Let Rob help you tackle the video challenge when you play games from our robot series." All 2 of them. Actual robot's eyes do not glow as shown. Color is an artist's interpretation to dramatize the robot's light sensing capabilities. Requires Nintendo Entertainment System control deck and Robot Series game pack, which is not included in this standalone set. If you were to have gotten your Rob with the deluxe set of the Nintendo Entertainment System, you would have gotten Gyromite and all of its pieces along with it. World's first video robot. What do we have? An ad for Gyromite, the first of the 2 games for the robot. Gyromite, the game filled with explosive challenge. You'll need R.O.B, the robot, to play this action-packed game. You've got to keep R.O.B's gyroscope spinning in order to help the mad scientist Professor, sorry, that came out in Spanish, Professor Vector, deactivate the dynamite in his laboratory. Get R.O.B to move columns up and down to speed the professor on his way while trying to avoid the lethal smicks. And you'll get to the dynamite even faster if you can get R.O.B to spin 2 gyros at the same time. But don't take your eyes off the professor, because anything can happen in Gyromite, where 2 hands and 1 pair of eyes aren't always enough. Requires Nintendo Entertainment System control deck and Robot Series game pack. Recommended for ages 8 to adult. And again, a disclaimer that Gyromite game pack is sold separately. And here's a picture of Rob with the entire Gyromite ensemble around him. Back of the box here. Got the obligatory picture of the happy family enjoying their Nintendo Entertainment System. The ultimate playing partner, R.O.B, Robotic Operating Buddy. Enter a whole new dimension in video technology with R.O.B, the extraordinary video robot. R.O.B picks up your commands from the screen by sensing light patterns with his eyes. You control R.O.B to move in any one of his 6 function movement modes. Together, you can tackle even the toughest video challenge. Discover why R.O.B is the ultimate dimension in home video game playing. Ooh, they mentioned the word video game. I thought they weren't supposed to do that. There's your seal of quality. Batteries not included. Requires 4 AA batteries for R.O.B, which is not included in this set, and 1 D battery for the gyro spinner. We take a look on the last panel here. This is Stack Up, the second of the 2 games with the Robot series. Stack Up. The challenge just keeps stacking up. Are you up to the challenge? It takes skill and strategy for you and R.O.B to meet the triple challenge of Stack Up. In the direct mode, you have to match the pattern in the shortest number of moves. In the memory mode, you can program up to 100 robot moves as you try to match the pattern. In Bingo, on-screen aliens keep changing the pattern, preventing you from completing your mission. So Stack Up game pack sold separately, and here is R.O.B with his Stack Up accessories clipped on. And I'm not going to get into the rules and intricacies of Gyromite or Stack Up. If you want to see how those games work, several people have already done videos on YouTube. Much better job than I probably would have done. So go ahead and search Stack Up on YouTube or Gyromite, and you'll see how these games actually work. Purpose of my video here is to unbox the peripherals, which is what we're going to see next. Got R.O.B, world's first video robot. Little stocking sticker from Sears, which is the store from where this was purchased. Open up the lid, and just like the Japanese version, we're greeted with some paperwork. Not coming out easily. There we go. I'll leave that in. This is the Nintendo seal of quality. As it's been noted several times over, the seal of quality has changed. It's become less verbose, and I think it's just been reduced nowadays to official Nintendo seal. But this is what it was supposed to mean back in the day. But as far as the paperwork here, we have the instruction manual. Another seal. Same diagrams that you would have seen in the Japanese one, except substituting the Famicom for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Talking about the batteries, the positions where you can put the robot, the LED on the top of his head. Don't get into fights with your robot. If your robot has questions, answer them. The instructions for putting those I guess they're light reducers. Let's see. If R.O.B is receiving the light signals from the TV, as indicated by the LED, but is not operating properly, the TV brightness may be set too high. Adjust the brightness control on your TV to bring the brightness level down. If you cannot bring the brightness level down far enough using the brightness control, you can attach the enclosed filter to R.O.B's eyes. Okay. So it's all about the TV brightness, not so much the ambient light. So peel off the protective paper from the 2-sided tape and attach as shown. Also peel off the protective film from the filter surface. So there we go. Don't clean them, don't expose them to sun. Chapter 2, warranty and service information, which is incredibly boring, so we won't get into that. Instead, we'll go on to what's interesting, what's inside of the box. Got one of those huge, now you're playing with power posters, or maybe this is one of the original first editions that says the Nintendo Game Plan. Which is this one? Yes, this is one of the first ones, the Nintendo Game Plan. This one doesn't include some of the newer games, like I believe Metroid and Legend of Zelda, and a few others. The one I have framed in my Nintendo loft is actually the newer version with those games. So that poster was included, and sadly, in order to fit in the box, was folded here down the middle, so it really kind of ruins the chance to have this framed and looking nice, but oh well, you did get the big poster with it. So let's take a look and see what's inside the box. Just like the family computer robot, R.O.B is ensconced here in styrofoam, which can be a little bit difficult to get out, so hopefully it'll go a little bit better than the first time there. Yeah, that was quite a bit easier. And there he is. Take him out of his bag. And we'll actually compare him with his brother, a family computer robot. So the main physical differences are the colors. The family computer robot is obviously to match the design cues of the Famicom. And the robotic operating buddy is designed to mimic the styling cues of the Nintendo Entertainment System. So R.O.B is a light gray, where the family computer robot is white. R.O.B.'s arms are dark gray. A family computer robot's arms are maroon or red. That same color for the most part goes for the bottom panel. So all those things aside, these are essentially the identical robot used for the US Nintendo Entertainment System and the Japanese family computer. But what are those two games that we would use them for? Let's take a look at those next. We'll go with Gyromite, which if you got the deluxe set in the United States, that was packaged with R.O.B and the Nintendo Entertainment System. And if you did get Gyromite with the deluxe set of the Nintendo Entertainment System, this is the configuration of the game that you got. Just the single game box. And back then, when Nintendo was giving Gyromite and Duck Hunt away in the deluxe set, you actually got the full packaging. You got the cardboard box. And the zapper and the pieces for Gyromite were just in with the Nintendo Entertainment System packaging. So this was the most common way that people back in 1985, 1986 got Gyromite. The not so common way is what is known as big box Gyromite, and this is the more rare configuration of the game. Gyromite itself, all the pieces are incredibly common. They really aren't worth all that much. What is worth a lot of money as far as Gyromite is concerned is the packaging for the big box version of the game. So we'll take a look at that now. Got Gyromite, part of the Robot series. Nothing of interest on the sides here, too much. But on the back, it does describe Gyromite. Gives you several screenshots. Gives you the picture of R.O.B. The same picture and the same verbatim description of the game is found on the R.O.B the Robot box. So let's open this up and see what we got. Yep, should have dusted it off. Got a little indentation here for your thumb. Open up the box and you'll see a plastic tray. Looks like they give you some more filters for his eyes, just in case. Got the game pack, and this is what would be included in this smaller box if you were to have gotten it with the deluxe set. You take a look what was included with the game. Pretty typical of NES releases at the time. Got your Nintendo Fun Club News membership form. Got a mini version of the poster, and then of course the instruction booklet for Gyromite. So what else we have included are the boxes are in the box are all the peripherals and accessories for Gyromite. And I'm actually going to set R.O.B up with these peripherals here and explain what they are as I put them on. Alright, let's move this out of the way and get R.O.B ready to get dressed up here to play Gyromite. So what you need to do is clip these peripherals or accessories into one of the numbered slots here. And I can't remember exactly what's supposed to go where, so I'll just do my best guess here. Alright, if I remember correctly, we'll see. I think the gyro platforms are supposed to go in the front here. Like that. And a Nintendo Entertainment System controller fits in there. And when the gyros are dropped down here, this little button comes out and pushes the A or B button, red for B, and blue for A. So if we spin them around here to slot 1, I just put this into slots 2 and 3. This is where you're supposed to attach the gyro spinner. And this actually requires 1 D battery, which I will put in. Get our D battery in there. Let's see if it's going to work here. It is in the on section, or on position. We'll see if it works. Clip him on. And then the last 2 slots here, slots 4 and 5, this is where the gyros are supposed to rest while they're not in play. We'll put them on here. These gyros actually still have their little warning on here. Do not touch while operating. Misuse of spinning gyro can cause physical injury. Consult Gyromite instruction manual. And they are not kidding. When these things get going, man, do they spin. If the gyro thing works here with the battery that I have, we'll see. Now, one thing I'm not going to be able to put on R.O.B for Gyromite because of the position he's in are the claws. I mentioned the stack-up hands that were pictured with R.O.B in the Family Computer Robot box. Each game, Gyromite and Stack Up, had hands you were supposed to put on R.O.B. So these black parts right here, these 2 claws would snap on, and what the claws were to do is to grip the gyro like this. And R.O.B would move around and often do just that. It was really hard to get R.O.B to hang on to these things while he would move around and drop them on the blue or the red pedestal to get the A or B button pushed as you wanted to do in the game. So let's pretend he's got his claws on. Spin him around, put the gyro on the spinner, see if my battery works. Alright, sorry about that. A little bit of a snafu. My battery did not work, but now I have one in here that works. So, we'll put the gyro on the spinner. See it spin up. These actually get going pretty fast. I've just gotten the attention of my dog Timmy. He may come over to check this out. But no, if you were to touch that, look out. So with these spinning this fast, R.O.B is supposed to swing over and grab it with his claws. Let's see if I can actually do it. I don't know if there's going to be enough clearance between his elbow and the pedestal, but we'll see. Grabs it with the claws while it's still spinning. Nope, not enough room. There we go. But that thing is going to spin for a long time. And we're not going to sit here and wait for it to spin, so instead I'm going to pick it up and it will keep spinning. Still going. Actually going to stop it with my finger here. So that's how Gyromite works. Let's take a look at the Family Computer version of Gyromite. Here's the Family Computer version of Gyromite, or Robot Gyro as it's known. And something that's kind of interesting is Nintendo made no changes to the software version for the US. The title screen actually says Robot Block, just like it does. It doesn't say Gyromite. But just like the US version, this comes with all the peripherals, comes with the game pack, the Famicom game cartridge. Actually do have some more pictures on the side here. Got the text, same picture, and then the same text. But this box opens a little bit differently. Instead of opening from the top here, kind of a flip-top thing going on. And we've got a piece of cardboard that's going to come out. And then we've got all the same peripherals. And I'm not going to go ahead and dress R.O.B up, the Family Computer Robot up with these peripherals. They're largely the same. The biggest differences are the color schemes. We've got the white and red color scheme going on instead of the gray and dark gray. Cartridge configuration's a little bit different here. This is the family computer version of Gyromite or Robot block. And it does come with a couple warnings and of course the instruction manual. But again, all the same things. We have the claws, which are red instead of gray. Got the gyro spinner. We got the pedestals for A and B buttons on the controller. We have the gyros themselves with the warnings, this time in Japanese. And then we've got the gyro holder, where the gyros are supposed to be used or placed when they're not in play. So that is Gyromite or Robot block. We'll take a look at the next game in the series, which is Stack Up. Now, given that Stack Up is a much smaller game, I can fit both versions in the frame here at the same time. We'll take a look at the US version first. This game is actually a lot more rare than Gyromite because it was never packaged with the NES, and given that R.O.B was not included with the NES for a long time, this had a very limited release. So this one actually goes for quite a bit of money. Comes in the same format, but just a larger box of the NES packaging. Some screenshots and the same game description that's included on the R.O.B packaging. This is a hang tab box, like many of the earlier ones were. And this is also a sealed box. This wasn't wrapped in cellophane. Instead, it just had a sticker over the top that said Nintendo. So if we open this up, we've got another tray here. This one includes the game pack. The instruction manual, Nintendo Fun Club newsletter, and of course, the poster. And again, just like Gyromite, Nintendo made no changes to the software inside. Even though this game is called Stack Up in the United States, it's called Robot Block in Japan, and that's what the title screen on this cartridge says, is Robot Block. Something else of note about these cartridges, these actually have an adapter in them. A lot of people know that the Nintendo Entertainment System uses cartridges that have 72 pins, and the Famicom has 60 pins. So the actual ROM chip, or the actual PCB board for the Famicom cartridge, is in here, and then there's a little adapter that goes from 60 pins to 72 pins. So I guess to save money, and knowing that this game was never meant to be around for a long time, it was just to help R.O.B accomplish his mission of getting the Nintendo Entertainment System, helping it be successful in the US market, they didn't make a like a proper US version for this with translations or even with the physical cartridge. But anyway, here we have the pieces. And unfortunately, the pieces for Stack Up are not nearly as fun as all the pieces for Gyromite. What you have here are 5 little pedestals where you're supposed to stack these blocks, which really are not blocks at all. They're made out of this hard foamy substance, but do say block, and they do say Nintendo. And R.O.B is supposed to pick them up and put them in certain orders and stack them one on top of the other. And these are actually the foam hands that R.O.B is pictured is wearing on the family computer packaging for this game. And speaking of which, that's the one we're going to take a look at next. And I'll actually deck out the family computer robot in its Robot block peripherals or accessories. Taking a look at the box for Robot block, you see R.O.B and his accessories for the game cartridge itself, picture and text on the side, and a little bit different, there is actually something on the bottom. There wasn't anything on the bottom of the Robot Gyro box. It tells you what you need and what's included in this package here. And this one, just like the US one, opens up from the end here, and you'll see a tray. Slightly different configuration, a little bit smaller than the US version, but the cartridge does sit on top. And you've got your Robot block cartridge, got your instruction manual, and warning card. Minor difference here is the blocks are actually in a little baggie, and they're one on top of the other, unlike in the US where they're all spread out. The foam hands, so Rob can pick them up, are maroon instead of gray. And the little pedestals, the 5 pedestals to stack up the blocks, are the Famicom off-white rather than the Nintendo Entertainment System gray. So we'll take a look at the Family Computer Robot with the stack-up accessories. I'll put them back in the frame here, and it's just as simple as inserting one of these pedestals. And again, I don't know if I'll be able to do this one given the position that his hands are in. Well, maybe I can. I did. Because his hands would lift up and open up and be out of the way there. So that was 3, 2, 1, 5, and 4. I was never much for counting in order. But anyway, there's Rob with his stack up pedestals. Again, I can't put the foam hands on him because they're closed at this point. And instead of opening this baggie, which is stapled shut, I'll just use the blocks from the US version. And the thing about these blocks, they have a little nub on the bottom, which are supposed to sit on top of the pedestals here. And Rob moves around, opens and closes his hands, and rotates and raises and lowers them so that you can stack the blocks on top of each other in the indicated color order on screen. So there you have it, the US Robotic Operating Buddy and the Japanese Family Computer Robot, both of which are rather gimmicky peripherals, and they're often credited with, at least in the United States, getting the Nintendo Entertainment System into the American market. But I think we can all agree that Super Mario Bros. Had more a hand in that success than Rob ever did. But regardless, both R.O.B, Robotic Operating Buddy, and the Family Computer Robot are very important pieces of Nintendo video gaming history. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I want to thank you for watching. And until next time, you guys take it easy. どうもありがとう、ミスターロバット。どうも。どうも。